Ruth found the letters in Gunwoo's drawer. She wasn't snooping. She was looking for the insurance papers he'd asked her to grab. But there they were. Dozens of them. Folded carefully. Addressed to someone named Mihi. Ruth's hands shook as she unfolded the first one. Mihi, I saw her with the children today. She's good with them. Better than I expected. But she's not you. She'll never be you. I don't know if I can love her the way I loved you. Dated 3 months ago. Ruth's vision blurred. 3 months ago, she'd thought they were building something real. She'd thought Gunwoo was finally opening up. But maybe she'd been fooling herself. Maybe she was just a replacement. A substitute for the woman he'd really loved. The woman he still wrote letters to like she was alive. Ruth pressed her hand to her mouth, tears burning. Behind her, a small voice, Mommy. She turned. Taeyong stood in the doorway, clutching his stuffed tiger. 2 years old. Gunwoo's eyes. Her smile. Ruth wiped her face quickly. Hey, baby. What are you doing up? Bad dream. She crossed the room and scooped him up. Held him tight. Over his shoulder, she stared at the letters scattered across Gunwoo's desk. And wondered if she'd ever really had his heart at all. Present day. Ruth stood in the kitchen at 6 a.m., making breakfast for 3 toddlers who would inevitably throw half of it on the floor. Gunwoo walked in, already dressed. Suit. Tie. Like he had somewhere important to be. He didn't. He worked from home now. Consulting. Legitimate business. Nothing that would get him killed. But he still dressed like he was going to war. Morning, Ruth said without looking up. Morning. Gunwoo poured himself coffee. Kids still asleep? Taeyong had a nightmare. I just put him back down. Again? 3rd time this week. Gunwoo frowned. Maybe we should take him to someone. A child psychologist. He's 2, Gunwoo. Kids have nightmares. Not like this. Ruth set down the spatula and turned to face him. What are you really worried about? Gunwoo's jaw tightened. Nothing. You think he's picking up on something. On us. There is no us problem. Ruth laughed bitterly. Right. Because we're so solid. Ruth. When's the last time you touched me? Gunwoo went still. What? Touched me. Kissed me. Looked at me like I was more than just the mother of your children. That's not fair. It's been 4 months, Gunwoo. 4 months since she stopped. Couldn't finish. Gunwoo set down his coffee cup. I've been busy. Doing what? You work from home. You barely leave the property. What are you so busy doing? Keeping us safe. Safe from what? Jay's been locked up for 2 years. The Park family is gone. Who's left? Gunwoo didn't answer. And that silence said everything. Ruth waited until Gunwoo was in a video meeting to search his study. She told herself she was being paranoid. Ridiculous. But something was wrong. She could feel it. Gunwoo had been distant for months. Detached. Like he was physically present but emotionally somewhere else. She found the letters in the bottom drawer of his desk. At first, she thought they were business documents. But the handwriting was too personal. Too careful. She opened the first one. Mihi, it's been 6 years. Sometimes I still forget you're gone. I'll turn to tell you something and remember. The house is quiet without you. It always will be. Ruth's chest tightened. She opened another. I have children now. 3 of them. A boy and 2 girls. They're beautiful. But I look at them and wonder what ours would have looked like. Another. She asks me if I love her. I don't know how to answer. Because how do you love someone when half your heart is buried in a grave? Ruth stopped reading. Her hands were shaking so badly she dropped the letters. They scattered across the floor like fallen leaves. She sank into Gunwoo's chair, hand pressed to her mouth. Mihi. The woman Gunwoo had been engaged to before Ruth. The woman Jay had murdered. Gunwoo still wrote to her. Still loved her. Maybe more than he'd ever loved Ruth. Gunwoo found her an hour later. She was still sitting in his chair, surrounded by the letters. He stopped in the doorway. His expression didn't change. But something in his eyes shifted. Ruth. How long have you been writing these? Gunwoo didn't answer. How long, Gunwoo? Since she died. That's not what I'm asking. Ruth stood, letters clenched in her fist. How long have you been writing them while you've been with me? Gunwoo's jaw tightened. It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. Explain why you're writing love letters to a dead woman while I'm sleeping in your bed. They're not love letters. Half my heart is buried in a grave? What would you call that? Gunwoo moved into the room. Stopped a few feet away. Their grief, Ruth. I'm processing grief. For 6 years. Yes. And you didn't think I should know about this? It's private. Private? Ruth's voice rose. We have 3 children together. We've been living together for 2 years. And you're still writing letters to another woman. How is that private? Gunwoo's expression went cold. The mask he wore when he didn't want to feel anything. You're overreacting. Don't. Ruth's voice shook. Don't do that. Don't shut me out and tell me I'm crazy for feeling this. I didn't say you were crazy. You didn't have to. She threw the letters at him. They fluttered to the floor between them. You know what these tell me? They tell me I was right. I am second choice. I'm the replacement. The woman you settled for because you couldn't have her. That's not true. Isn't it? Ruth's eyes burned. Tell me honestly, Gunwoo. If Mihi were still alive, would you have ever looked at me twice? Gunwoo didn't answer. And that silence broke something in Ruth. That's what I thought, she whispered. She walked past him toward the door. Gunwoo caught her arm. Ruth. Let me go. Not until you listen. I've been listening for 2 years. Ruth yanked her arm free. I've been patient. I've been understanding. I've given you space. But I'm done competing with a ghost. You're not competing. Yes, I am. And I can't win. Because she's perfect in your memory. She'll never age. Never disappoint you. Never ask for more than you can give. Ruth's voice cracked. How am I supposed to compete with that? Gunwoo stared at her. For the first time since she'd known him, he looked lost. I don't know what you want me to say, he said quietly. I want you to tell me I matter. That I'm not just the mother of your children. That you actually love me. Ruth. Say it. If it's true, just say it. Gunwoo opened his mouth. Then closed it. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Ruth's heart shattered. That's what I thought, she whispered. She walked out. That night, a package arrived. Ruth was putting the triplets to bed when the doorbell rang. Gunwoo answered it. He came back holding a manila envelope. No return address. What is it? Ruth asked. Gunwoo opened it. His face went white. Gunwoo. He pulled out a stack of photographs. Handed them to Ruth without a word. The first photo showed Gunwoo in a parking garage, talking to a man in a black suit. The man's face was partially obscured, but his posture screamed danger. The second photo showed Gunwoo handing the man an envelope. The third showed them shaking hands. Ruth's stomach dropped. When was this taken? Last week. Who is he? Gunwoo's jaw tightened. Old associate. From Seoul. You said you were done with that world. I am. Then what is this? It's not what it looks like. Ruth stared at him. You've been lying to me. I've been protecting you. By meeting with criminals behind my back? Ruth. She found the note at the bottom of the envelope. He's lying to you. He never left that world. He never will. A friend. Ruth's hands shook. She looked up at Gunwoo. He looked back at her with an expression she couldn't read. I need you to trust me, he said quietly. How? Ruth's voice broke. How am I supposed to trust you when you keep lying? I'm not lying. Then tell me the truth. All of it. Right now. Gunwoo was silent for a long moment. Then, Jay escaped. The world tilted. Ruth sat down before her legs gave out. What? 2 weeks ago. He got out. And you didn't tell me? I didn't want to scare you. So you've been meeting with your old contacts to track him down? Yes. Ruth pressed her hands to her face. Oh my God. I have it under control. You don't get to decide that. Ruth stood, fury replacing fear. This affects me. This affects our children. And you made the decision to keep it from me. Because I knew you'd react like this. Like what? Like a rational human being who deserves to know when a psychopath who tried to destroy our lives escapes from prison. Gunwoo's expression hardened. I was trying to protect you. I don't need protection. I need honesty. You need both. Ruth stared at him. At this man who'd saved her life and given her children and still kept her at arm's length. I can't do this, she said quietly. Ruth. I can't live like this. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Never knowing what you're hiding. I'm not hiding anything else. How would I know? Her voice cracked. How would I ever know? Gunwoo took a step toward her. Ruth took a step back. That stopped him cold. Don't, she whispered. Just, don't. She turned and walked upstairs. Gunwoo stood in the hallway, surrounded by photographs and lies. And for the first time in years, he had no idea how to fix what he'd broken. Ruth just discovered Gunwoo's been keeping deadly secrets and she's done being kept in the dark. But Jay's escape is just the beginning. Ruth didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to Gunwoo move around downstairs. He didn't come up. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ruth's heart stopped. She answered without thinking. Hello. Silence. Then breathing. Ruth. The voice was familiar. Cold. It's been a long time. Her blood turned to ice. Jay. I'm impressed you remember me. Though I suppose I did make quite an impression. Ruth sat up, hand trembling. How did you get this number? I've had it for 2 years. I've just been waiting for the right moment to use it. Jay's voice was calm. Pleasant. Like they were old friends catching up. How are the children? Ruth's chest tightened. Don't. Relax. I'm not going to hurt them. I'm not a monster. A pause. Well, not to children anyway. What do you want? To talk. Gunwoo won't take my calls. He's being very rude about the whole escape situation. You try to destroy us. I tried to give him a family. And I succeeded. You're welcome, by the way. Ruth's grip tightened on the phone. You're insane. Perhaps. But I'm also right. Jay's tone shifted. Harder. Gunwoo doesn't love you, Ruth. He loves the idea of you. The second chance. The redemption story. But you? The actual woman? He barely knows you. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? When's the last time he touched you? Kissed you? Looked at you like you were more than just the mother of his heirs. Ruth's throat closed. That's what I thought. Jay laughed softly. You found the letters, didn't you? The ones to Mihi. Ruth's blood ran cold. How do you know about those? Because I know Gunwoo. Better than you ever will. And I know he'll never let her go. She's perfect in his memory. Frozen in time. You can't compete with a ghost, Ruth. Stop. I'm trying to help you. Gunwoo is using you. He's using those children. And when something better comes along or when you become too much trouble, he'll discard you like he discards everyone. That's not true. Isn't it? Ask yourself this. If you left tomorrow, how hard would he really fight to keep you? Or would he just keep the children and move on? Ruth couldn't breathe. Think about it, Jay said softly. I'll be in touch. The line went dead. Ruth sat there in the dark, phone pressed to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Downstairs, Gunwoo was on his own phone. I need a full security sweep. Every entrance. Every window. Cameras. Motion sensors. Everything. Minji's voice came through. It's 3 a.m, Gunwoo. I don't care. Jay is circling. I can feel it. We've already upgraded security twice. It's not enough. Gunwoo paced the living room. He got Ruth's number. He's watching us. Then maybe it's time to move. Take Ruth and the kids somewhere Jay can't find you. There's nowhere he can't find us. He has been planning this. Minji was quiet for a moment. What did you do to him, Gunwoo? What do you mean? I've seen a lot of revenge in my life. But this? This is personal. What did you do that made him hate you this much? Gunwoo stopped pacing. He thought about Jay locked in that cell. Thought about the look on his face when Gunwoo told him he'd never see daylight again. I took everything from him, Gunwoo said quietly. His freedom. His purpose. His chance at redemption. So now he's taking everything from you. Yes. Starting with Ruth. Gunwoo's hand tightened on the phone. He won't get to her. He already has. You saw her face tonight. She doesn't trust you anymore. I'll fix it. How? By lying more? By keeping more secrets. Minji's voice softened. Gunwoo. I've worked for you for 6 years. And I've never seen you like this. You're terrified. I'm not. You are. Not of Jay. Of losing her. Gunwoo didn't answer. So stop protecting her and start being honest with her. Or Jay won't need to destroy you. You'll do it yourself. The line went dead. Gunwoo stood in the dark living room, staring at nothing. Then he heard footsteps on the stairs. Ruth stood in the doorway, wrapped in a robe, eyes red from crying. Jay called me, she said. Gunwoo's blood ran cold. What? Just now. On my cell. What did he say? Ruth crossed her arms. That you don't love me. That I'm just a placeholder. That you're using me. Gunwoo moved toward her. Ruth. Is it true? No. Then why does it feel true? Her voice cracked. Why do I feel like I'm fighting for scraps of your attention? Like I'm constantly proving I'm worth keeping. Gunwoo stopped in front of her. Because I'm an idiot. Ruth blinked. What? I'm an idiot. I'm emotionally stunted. I don't know how to do this. Gunwoo gestured between them. I don't know how to be a husband. A partner. I know how to survive. I know how to kill. I know how to build empires. But this. His voice dropped. This terrifies me. Ruth stared at him. He died because I couldn't protect her, Gunwoo said. Jay killed her because of me. Because of who I was. What I did. And I swore I'd never let that happen again. That I'd never care about someone enough to make them a target. But you had 3 children with me. I didn't plan that. You know I didn't. Gunwoo's eyes were raw. Unguarded. And when it happened, when you told me you were pregnant, I was terrified. Because now I had something to lose again. And I didn't know how to handle it. Ruth's eyes filled with tears. So I wrote the letters, Gunwoo continued. To Mihi. Because she was safe. She was dead. I couldn't hurt her anymore. But you. His hand came up, fingertips barely brushing her jaw. You're alive. And real. And every day I wake up terrified that I'll do something to destroy you. So you push me away instead. Yes. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Gunwoo's mouth twitched. Almost a smile. I know. Ruth wiped her eyes. Jay said you'd never fight for me. That if I left, you'd just keep the kids and move on. Jay's a liar. Is he? Gunwoo's expression turned dangerous. If you left, I'd burn the world down to find you. I'd hunt you to the ends of the earth. And when I found you, I'd spend the rest of my life proving you were wrong to leave. Ruth's breath caught. You're not second choice, Ruth. You're the only choice. The only woman I've ever, he stopped. Couldn't finish. Ever what? The only woman I've ever been terrified to lose. Silence stretched between them. Then Ruth moved. She closed the distance, grabbed his face, and kissed him. Hard. Desperate. For months of frustration and fear poured into one moment. Gunwoo's arms came around her, pulling her against him like he was drowning and she was air. They broke apart, breathing hard. We have to leave, Gunwoo said. Tonight. Jay knows where we are. Where will we go? I have a place. Remote. Secure. No one knows about it except Minji. Ruth pulled back slightly. You mean the woman who's been reporting my every move to you? Gunwoo had the grace to look guilty. Jay told you that. Is it true? Yes. But only because I needed to know you were safe. Gunwoo. I know. I know it was wrong. I know I violated your privacy. But I don't regret it. Because it kept you alive. His eyes were fierce. I'll apologize for a lot of things. But not for keeping you safe. Ruth wanted to be angry. But she was too tired. Where's this place? She asked. Mountains. 3 hours north. Cabin. Off-grid. No neighbors for miles. Sounds romantic. Gunwoo's eyes darkened. It could be. Despite everything, Ruth felt heat rise in her cheeks. We need to pack, she said. I already did. While you were upstairs. Bags are in the car. What about the kids? Minji's getting them now. We leave in 10 minutes. Ruth stared at him. You planned this before I even came downstairs. Yes. You were going to take me whether I agreed or not. Yes. Ruth should be furious. Instead, she felt something else. Relief. Because Gunwoo was finally doing what he should have done from the beginning. He was fighting for her. The drive took 4 hours, not 3. Minji drove. Gunwoo sat in the back with Ruth and the sleeping triplets. His hand found hers in the dark. Ruth looked at him. He looked back. And for the first time in months, she saw him. Really saw him. Not the mask. Not the cold boss. Not the distant father. Just Gunwoo. Terrified. Flawed. Trying. I'm not good at this, he said quietly. I know. But I'm trying. I know that too. His thumb brushed over her knuckles. I need you to know something. What? The letters. I'm done writing them. Ruth's breath caught. I wrote the last one 2 nights ago, Gunwoo continued. Before you found them. It said goodbye. His eyes held hers. Because I'm done living in the past. I want to live here. With you. If you'll let me. Tears slipped down Ruth's cheeks. Okay, she whispered. Gunwoo lifted her hand to his lips. Kissed her knuckles. And Ruth realized something. She'd been so focused on competing with Mihi's ghost that she'd missed the truth. Gunwoo had already chosen her. He'd just been too scared to say it out loud. The cabin was exactly as advertised. Remote. 1 bedroom. Wood stove. No electricity except a generator. Minji swept the property while Gunwoo carried the sleeping triplets inside. Ruth stood on the porch, staring out at the mountains. Gunwoo came up behind her. Disappointed? No. She leaned back against him. It's perfect. His arms came around her waist. Pulled her close. They stood like that for a long moment. Then Ruth's phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. A text. Nice hiding spot. But you can't hide forever. Tick-tock. Jay. Ruth showed Gunwoo. His expression went cold. Dangerous. He's bluffing, Gunwoo said. He doesn't know where we are. How can you be sure? Because if he did, he'd already be here. Ruth wanted to believe that. But something in her gut said Jay wasn't bluffing. He was playing a game. And they were already 3 moves behind. Gunwoo finally opened up, but Jay's closing in. And this time, he's not coming for Gunwoo. He's coming for Ruth. The first 3 days at the cabin were quiet. Too quiet. Ruth spent her mornings with the triplets. Playing. Reading. Pretending everything was normal. Gunwoo spent his mornings on the phone with Minji, coordinating security, tracking Jay's movements. Or lack thereof. Jay had gone silent after that last text. No calls. No messages. No sightings. It was like he'd vanished. That's worse, Gunwoo said on the 3rd night. When he's quiet, he's planning. Ruth wrapped her arms around herself. What do you think he's planning? I don't know. But whatever it is, he's taking his time. They were standing on the porch, watching the sun set behind the mountains. The triplets were inside with Minji, eating dinner. It was the first time Ruth and Gunwoo had been alone in days. I'm sorry, Gunwoo said suddenly. Ruth looked at him. For what? For all of it. The letters. The lies. The surveillance. He turned to face her. I spent so long trying to control everything that I forgot what actually matters. Which is you, us, this. He gestured between them. I don't know how to do this, Ruth. I don't know how to be vulnerable without feeling like I'm handing someone a weapon. Ruth moved closer. You think loving me is a weakness. I know it is. Then you don't understand love at all. Gunwoo's eyes searched hers. Teach me. Ruth's breath caught. Before she could answer, her phone rang. Not a Seoul number. Not unknown. Atlanta area code. Ruth frowned and answered. Hello. Ruth? Oh my God, Ruth, is that really you? The voice hit her like a freight train. Marcus? Gunwoo's expression went cold immediately. Yeah, it's me. Marcus's voice was warm. Familiar. I've been trying to track you down for months. Your old landlord finally gave me your number. Ruth's mind raced. Why are you? I'm in Sydney now. Took a job with an international firm. And I heard through the grapevine you were in New Zealand. I know this is random, but I'm actually flying to Auckland next week for a conference and I thought, maybe we could meet up? Catch up. Ruth looked at Gunwoo. His jaw was tight. Eyes dark. I don't know if that's a good idea, Ruth said slowly. Come on. It's been what, for years? 5? I just want to see how you're doing. No pressure. Just coffee. Ruth hesitated. Part of her wanted to say no immediately. To protect Gunwoo's feelings. To avoid conflict. But another part of her, the part that was still angry about the letters, about the lies, about feeling like second choice, wanted to say yes. Wanted to remind Gunwoo that she had a life before him, that she wasn't just his possession. Okay, Ruth said. Coffee. Next week. Seriously? That's amazing. I'll text you the details when I land. Sounds good. Great. Can't wait to see you, Ruth. The line went dead. Ruth lowered the phone slowly. Gunwoo stared at her like she'd just detonated a bomb. Who, he said quietly, is Marcus? He's a friend. Just a friend. Ruth crossed her arms. Yes, just a friend. From Atlanta. Yes. A male friend who you haven't seen in 4 years and who is flying to New Zealand specifically to see you. He's not flying here specifically to see me. He's coming for a conference. And you said yes. Ruth's temper flared. Yes. I said yes. Is that a problem? Gunwoo's expression was carefully blank. Why would it be a problem? I don't know, Gunwoo. You tell me. I have nothing to tell. Really? Because you look like you're about to put a hit out on someone. I don't do that anymore. But you want to. Gunwoo's eyes flashed. What do you want me to say, Ruth? That I don't like the idea of you meeting with another man? Fine. I don't like it. Why? Because he stopped. Jaw working. Because what? Because I don't know who he is. I don't know what he wants. And I don't trust. You don't trust me. That's not what I said. It's what you meant. Ruth stepped closer. You've had me followed, monitored, tracked. And now a friend from my past calls and you look at me like I'm betraying you. That's not. I spent 2 years competing with a dead woman, Gunwoo. 2 years wondering if I'd ever be enough. And now that you've finally said you're done with the past, you can't handle me having one. Gunwoo's hands clenched into fists. That's different. How? Because Mihi is dead. Marcus is very much alive. And calling you. And flying across the ocean to see you. For coffee. That's how it starts. Ruth laughed bitterly. You're jealous. I'm cautious. No. You're jealous. And insecure. And you don't like feeling that way, so you're trying to control it by controlling me. Gunwoo's expression shifted. I'm not trying to control you. Then what are you trying to do? I'm trying not to lose you. The words exploded out of him. Silence crashed down. Gunwoo turned away, hand running through his hair. I'm trying not to lose you, he repeated, quieter. Because that's what I do. I lose people. Mihi. My parents. Everyone I've ever. He stopped. Ruth's anger drained away. She moved behind him. Put her hand on his back. You're not going to lose me, she said softly. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Gunwoo turned to face her. His eyes were raw, vulnerable in a way she'd rarely seen. Marcus, he said carefully, were you? We dated. Briefly. 6 years ago. It ended mutually. We stayed friends. Gunwoo's jaw tightened. Did you love him? Ruth paused. I thought I did. For a while. And now? Now I know the difference. Which is? Ruth reached up and cupped his face. What I felt for Marcus was easy. Comfortable. Safe. Her thumb brushed his cheek. What I feel for you is terrifying. It's messy and complicated and sometimes I want to strangle you. But it's real. And it's mine. And I'm not giving it up for anyone. Gunwoo's hands came up to cover hers. I don't deserve you. Probably not. Ruth smiled slightly. But you're stuck with me anyway. Ruth. I'm going to meet Marcus for coffee. Because he's my friend. And because I'm not going to let your jealousy dictate my choices. Her voice softened. But I'm coming back. To you. To our children. To this life we're building. Okay. Gunwoo stared at her for a long moment. Then nodded once. Okay. Ruth stood on her toes and kissed him. Soft. Gentle. When she pulled back, Gunwoo's eyes were closed. I'm trying, he murmured. I'm really trying. I know. Inside the cabin, Minji had just finished reading the triplets a bedtime story. She walked out onto the porch where Gunwoo and Ruth were standing close, foreheads pressed together. Hate to interrupt, Minji said, but we have a problem. Gunwoo pulled away from Ruth immediately. What kind of problem? Minji held up her phone. Marcus Chin. Age 34. Investment banker. Currently working in Sydney. Ruth frowned. How did you? I ran a background check the second the call ended. Minji looked at Gunwoo. He's clean. No criminal record. No suspicious connections. But what? Gunwoo's voice was sharp. He received a wire transfer 2 days ago. $50,000. From an offshore account registered to a shell company. Ruth's stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means, Gunwoo said slowly, someone paid Marcus $50,000 right before he contacted you. That doesn't mean. Ruth. Gunwoo turned to her. What are the odds that a man you haven't spoken to in 4 years suddenly tracks you down, flies to New Zealand, and wants to meet with you right after Jay escapes and starts threatening us? Ruth's blood ran cold. You think Jay paid Marcus to contact me? I think it's a hell of a coincidence if he didn't. Minji nodded. The timing is suspicious. The money is suspicious. And the fact that he got your number through your old landlord, I checked. Your landlord died 2 years ago. Ruth felt sick. So Marcus is working with Jay. Or Jay is using Marcus without him knowing, Gunwoo said. Either way, this isn't just coffee. It's a trap. Ruth's hands shook. What do we do? Gunwoo's expression went cold. Calculating. We spring it. Ruth's eyes widened. What? Jay wants you to meet Marcus. So, you're going to meet Marcus. Gunwoo turned to Minji. Can you have a team in place by next week? Yes. But Gunwoo, if this goes wrong, it won't. How can you be sure? Gunwoo looked at Ruth. Because this time, I'm not keeping secrets. This time, we're doing this together. Ruth stared at him. You want me to be bait? I want you to be my partner. The distinction mattered. Ruth took a breath. What's the plan? 1 week later, Auckland. Ruth sat in a cafe downtown, hands wrapped around a coffee she wasn't drinking. Marcus walked in 5 minutes late. He looked exactly the same. Tall. Handsome. Easy smile. Ruth. He crossed to her table and pulled her into a hug. God, it's good to see you. Ruth forced herself to relax into it. You too. They sat down. Marcus ordered coffee. Made small talk. Asked about her life. Ruth answered carefully. Vaguely. Didn't mention Gunwoo. Didn't mention the children. So Marcus said after 10 minutes, I have to admit. I didn't just come to Auckland for a conference. Ruth's heart rate spiked. No. I came because. He reached across the table and took her hand. I never stopped thinking about you, Ruth. And I know this is crazy. I know it's been years. But I had to tell you. Ruth stared at him. At his hand on hers. At the lie in his eyes. Because she saw it now. The slight hesitation. The way his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Marcus wasn't here because he loved her. He was here because someone was making him. Marcus, Ruth said softly. Who paid you to come here? His expression didn't change. What are you talking about? The $50,000. Who gave it to you? Now his smile faltered. I don't. You're a terrible liar. Marcus pulled his hand back. Ruth. Is he watching us right now? Jay, is he here? Marcus's face went white. How do you? The cafe door burst open. 3 men in suits walked in. Ruth recognized the look immediately. Weapons concealed. Eyes scanning. Professionals. Marcus stood abruptly. Ruth, we need to go. Now. I'm not going anywhere with you. You don't understand. He said if I didn't bring you, Marcus's voice cracked. He has my sister. He said he'd kill her if I didn't. One of the men reached them. Put a hand on Marcus's shoulder. She's not coming willingly, the man said into a hidden mic. A pause. Then, copy that. The man pulled out a gun. Ruth's world went into slow motion. But before the man could point it at her, Minji appeared behind him, grabbed his wrist, twisted. The gun clattered to the floor. Chaos erupted. More of Gunwoo's men poured into the cafe from every entrance. Gunfire. Screaming. Civilians running. Ruth dropped to the floor. Marcus dropped beside her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He said he'd kill her. Where is he? Ruth grabbed Marcus's shirt. Where's Jay? I don't know. I never met him. Everything was through phone calls and wire transfers. Something crashed nearby. Ruth looked up. One of Jay's men was still standing. Gun pointed. Not at Minji. At her. Time froze. The man's finger tightened on the trigger. Then Gunwoo was there. He stepped in front of Ruth, took the bullet meant for her, and dropped. Gunwoo just took a bullet for Ruth, but is he going to survive? And Jae's plan is bigger than anyone thought. Ruth screamed. Gunwoo hit the floor, blood spreading across his white shirt. No. No, 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 Ruth crawled to him, hands pressing against the wound in his chest. So much blood. Too much blood. Gunwoo's eyes found hers. Ruth. Don't talk. Don't you dare, her voice broke. Minji. Call an ambulance. Minji was already on her phone, weapons still drawn, covering them. The cafe was chaos. Jae's remaining men were down or fleeing. Civilians huddled behind overturned tables. Gunwoo's hand found Ruth's. Squeezed weakly. Listen. Save your strength. Ruth. Listen. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. If I don't, you're not dying. You don't get to die. Not after everything. Tears streamed down her face. You promised me. You promised you'd fight for us. I am. Gunwoo's thumb brushed her hand. That's what this is. This is you being an idiot. I love you. Ruth froze. Gunwoo had never said those words. Not once. Not in 2 years. I love you, he repeated, voice getting weaker. I should have said it sooner. Should have said it every day. But I was afraid. Stop talking. Afraid that if I said it, I'd lose you. Like I lost her. Like I lose everyone. His eyes were unfocused now. Distant. But I'd rather die having said it than live having kept it inside. Gunwoo. His eyes closed. Gunwoo. Ruth shook him. No. Open your eyes. Look at me. Gunwoo. Nothing. Minji pulled Ruth back as paramedics rushed in. Ruth watched them work on him. Watched them load him onto a stretcher. Watched them wheel him away. And wondered if those would be the last words she'd ever hear him say. Auckland General Hospital, 3 hours later. Ruth sat in the waiting room, covered in Gunwoo's blood. Minji sat beside her, silent. Marcus was in police custody, giving a statement about Jae, about his sister, about the $50,000. The triplets were at a safe house with 2 of Gunwoo's most trusted men. And Gunwoo was in surgery. Gunshot wound to the upper left chest, the doctor had said. Collapsed lung. Possible damage to major blood vessels. We won't know the extent until we get in there. That was 2 hours ago. Ruth stared at her hands. At the blood under her fingernails. He's going to survive, Minji said quietly. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Gunwoo's too stubborn to die. Ruth laughed bitterly. He's stubborn enough to get shot taking a bullet for me. That's not stubbornness. That's love. Ruth closed her eyes. He said he loved me. Right before he passed out. I know. I heard. What if those were the last words? They weren't. Minji's voice was firm. Gunwoo doesn't do dramatic deathbed confessions. He's going to survive. And then you're going to make him say it again. Every day. For the rest of his life. Ruth wanted to believe that. But the blood on her hands said otherwise. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ruth's blood ran cold. She answered. Jae. Ruth. I heard about the cafe. Such a shame about Gunwoo. Jae's voice was pleasant. Cheerful. Is he dead yet? Ruth's hand tightened on the phone. What do you want? To talk. Isn't that what friends do? We're not friends. No. But we could be. We have so much in common. We have nothing in common. We both love Gunwoo. In our own ways. Jae paused. Tell me, Ruth. Did he ever tell you about Mihi? Ruth's chest tightened. Yes. Did he tell you I killed her? Yes. Did he tell you why? Ruth hesitated. You said she was a liability. That she knew too much. That's what I told him. But it wasn't the truth. Ruth's stomach dropped. What? The truth is Mihi wanted to leave. She was tired of the violence. Tired of looking over her shoulder. She begged Gunwoo to walk away. To choose her over the business. Jae's voice went cold. And he refused. So she threatened to go to the authorities. To expose everything. To burn his empire to the ground if he wouldn't walk away with her. Ruth couldn't breathe. I killed her to protect him, Jae continued. Because Gunwoo wouldn't do what needed to be done. He loved her too much. So I made the choice for him. You're lying. Am I? Ask him. If he survives. Ask him if he wanted to leave. Ask him if he chose power over her. Jay paused. And then ask yourself, if it came down to it, would he make a different choice with you? He already did. He took a bullet for me. Taking a bullet is easy, Ruth. It's instinct. Heroic. Dramatic. Jay's voice dropped. But walking away from everything you've built? Giving up power? Control? That's the real sacrifice. And Gunwoo has never been able to do it. He left Seoul. He gave up the business. Did he? Or did he just relocate? Change his methods. Jay laughed softly. You think those men who showed up at the cafe were civilians? Gunwoo still has an army, Ruth. He still has connections. He just hides it better now. Ruth's world tilted. That's not. Check his phone. Check his laptop. See how many consultations he does every week. See how much money moves through his accounts. Jay's voice was almost gentle. Gunwoo never left that world, Ruth. He just learned to lie to you better. The line went dead. Ruth sat there, phone pressed to her ear, mind racing. It wasn't true. It couldn't be true. Gunwoo had walked away. He'd chosen family. Ruth. Minji's voice cut through her thoughts. The doctor's coming. Ruth looked up. A surgeon in bloodstained scrubs walked toward them. Ruth stood on shaking legs. Miss Johnson, the doctor asked. Yes. Is he? He's alive. The surgery went well. We repaired the damage to his lung and stopped the bleeding. He's stable. Ruth's legs gave out. Minji caught her. Can I see him? Ruth asked. He's in recovery. Still unconscious. But yes. Follow me. Gunwoo looked small in the hospital bed. Tubes. Wires. Monitors beeping steadily. Ruth sat beside him and took his hand. You idiot, she whispered. You stupid, heroic idiot. His hand was warm. Alive. Ruth pressed it to her cheek. You said you loved me, she continued, tears sliding down her face. And then you almost died. That's not how this works. You don't get to say it once and then leave me. Gunwoo's fingers twitched. Ruth's head snapped up. Gunwoo. His eyes fluttered open. Unfocused. Confused. Then found hers. Ruth, he rasped. I'm here. I'm right here. Kids. They're safe. Gunwoo's eyes closed in relief. Good. You scared me, Ruth said, voice breaking. Don't ever do that again. Can't promise that. His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Might have to take more bullets for you. That's not funny. Little bit funny. Ruth laughed through her tears. I love you too. I didn't get to say it before. But I do. I love you. Even when you're stupid and reckless and... Gunwoo squeezed her hand weakly. Say it again. I love you. Again. I love you, Gunwoo. His eyes closed. But he was smiling. Good. Because I meant it. What I said. I know. Not just words. I'll prove it. Every day. For the rest of he winced. Don't talk. Just rest. Need to tell you something. It can wait. Jay called you. Didn't he? Ruth went still. How did you? I know him. He can't resist twisting the knife. Gunwoo's eyes opened. What did he tell you? Ruth hesitated. That mean he wanted you to leave. That she threatened to expose you. That you chose power over her. Gunwoo's expression didn't change. It's true. Ruth's heart stopped. What? He wanted me to walk away. I refused. She said she'd go to the police. I called her bluff. His voice was raw. And Jay killed her before she could. He thought he was protecting me. But really, he was protecting the business. Gunwoo. I've regretted that choice every day for 6 years. Every single day. His hand tightened on hers. But I won't make the same mistake twice. What does that mean? It means I'm done. Really done. No more consultations. No more connections. No more half measures. Gunwoo's eyes were fierce despite his weakness. I'm cutting every tie to that world. Permanently. But your men. I'll pay them severance. Set them up in legitimate businesses. Whatever it takes. He pulled her hand to his chest, right over his heart. I'm choosing you, Ruth. Not because I'm taking a bullet. Not because it's dramatic, but because I'm walking away from everything else. Tears streamed down Ruth's face. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because you were right. I never fully left. I kept one foot in that world just in case. His voice dropped. But I don't need a backup plan anymore. You're my plan. You and our children. That's it. Ruth leaned forward and kissed him. Gentle. Careful of his injuries. When she pulled back, Gunwoo was smiling. Does this mean you forgive me for the letters? He asked. Don't push it. He laughed. Then winced. Ow. Serves you right. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Ruth remembered. Jay said something else. He said he wants me to understand you. That we're alike. Gunwoo's expression darkened. You're nothing like him. He said you'd never be able to walk away. That power is too addictive. Jay doesn't know me as well as he thinks. Doesn't he? He orchestrated everything in the beginning. He knew exactly how you'd react. Ruth. Gunwoo cut her off. Jay thinks he knows me because we worked together for 10 years. But he doesn't understand one thing. What? I was never fighting for power. I was fighting to survive. And now his eyes held hers. Now I have something worth surviving for. Ruth's throat tightened. So Jay can think whatever he wants, Gunwoo continued. He can plan. He can scheme. But he's already lost. Because I'm not the man he thinks I am anymore. Who are you? Gunwoo's smile was soft. Yours. 3 days later. Gunwoo was discharged from the hospital against medical advice. You need at least another week, the doctor protested. I need to be with my family, Gunwoo countered. The doctor sighed and handed him a prescription for pain medication. Minji drove them back to the cabin. The triplets rushed Gunwoo the second he walked in. Daddy. Careful, Ruth tried to intervene. But Gunwoo dropped to his knees, slowly, painfully, and wrapped his arms around all three of them. I missed you, he murmured into their hair. Ruth watched, tears in her eyes. This was what mattered. Not power. Not control. Not legacy. This. That night, after the kids were asleep, Ruth and Gunwoo sat on the porch. He was healing. Slowly. But healing. Jay's been quiet, Ruth said. I know. That scares me more than when he was loud. Me too. Gunwoo pulled her closer. Careful of his stitches. He's planning something big, Ruth continued. Something we're not seeing. I know. So, what do we do? Gunwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then, we end it. Once and for all. Ruth looked up at him. How? I don't know yet. But I'm done reacting. Done letting him control the game. Gunwoo's eyes were hard. Determined. It's time we went on the offensive. What does that mean? Gunwoo's smile was dangerous. It means Jay thinks he knows how I operate. But he's wrong. Because the old Gunwoo would have hunted him down and killed him. And the new Gunwoo? The new Gunwoo is going to give him exactly what he wants. Ruth frowned. I don't understand. Jay doesn't want me dead. He wants me broken. He wants to watch me lose everything slowly. Gunwoo turned to face her fully. So we're going to let him think he's winning. And when he gets close enough, we trap him. Exactly. Ruth stared at him. That's risky. I know. If it goes wrong, it won't. You can't know that. Gunwoo cupped her face. I know that I'm not losing you. I'm not losing our children. And I'm not spending the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. His eyes were fierce. So yes, it's risky. But doing nothing is riskier. Ruth searched his face, then nodded. Okay, what's the plan? Gunwoo smiled. And for the first time in weeks, Ruth felt something other than fear. She felt hope. Gunwoo just declared war on Jay, but this time, with Ruth by his side. The final confrontation is coming, and only one of them is walking away. 2 weeks later. The plan was simple. Too simple, Ruth thought. But Gunwoo insisted it would work. Jay wants to see me broken, Gunwoo had explained. So we're going to give him a show. Now Ruth sat in their lawyer's office in downtown Auckland, signing divorce papers. Fake divorce papers. But Jay didn't know that. Minji had leaked the information carefully. Through channels Jay was monitoring. Making it look accidental. Gunwoo and Ruth splitting up. Custody battle over the triplets. Ruth taking the children back to Atlanta. It was bait. And they were betting everything that Jay would take it. Ruth's hand shook as she signed the documents. Even though they weren't real, seeing her name on a divorce decree made her stomach turn. You okay? Gunwoo asked quietly. They were sitting on opposite sides of the conference table, playing their parts even here, in case Jay had eyes inside the law firm. Fine, Ruth said. She wasn't fine. This plan required her to act like she hated Gunwoo. Like she was taking their children and disappearing. It required her to walk away. And even though it was fake, it felt too real. Gunwoo's eyes met hers across the table. Trust me, his expression said. Ruth took a breath and signed the last page. That's everything, the lawyer said. The custody arrangement gives Ms. Johnson primary custody, with visitation rights for Mr. Beck twice a month. Twice a month. Ruth made her voice sharp. Bitter. That's generous considering he almost got our children killed. Gunwoo's jaw tightened. I was protecting you. By getting shot? By bringing violence into our lives? Ruth stood abruptly. I'm done, Gunwoo. I'm taking Jiwoo, Minseo, and Taeyoung back to Atlanta where they'll be safe. Away from you. Ruth. Don't. She grabbed her purse. My lawyer will be in touch about the asset division. Ruth walked out. She made it to the elevator before her hands started shaking. The doors closed. She leaned against the wall and took deep breaths. It's not real. It's not real. This is just the plan. But God, it felt real. That night, Ruth stayed at a hotel with the triplets. Not because she wanted to. Because Jay needed to see her separated from Gunwoo. Vulnerable. Alone. Minji was in the next room, but Ruth still felt exposed. She put the triplets to bed and sat by the window, staring out at the city lights. Her phone buzzed. Gunwoo, I hate this. Ruth, me too. Gunwoo, 2 more days. Then you fly to Atlanta. Jay will make his move before then. Ruth, and if he doesn't? Gunwoo, he will. He can't resist. Ruth stared at the text. Then typed, what if something goes wrong? The response came immediately. Gunwoo, nothing will go wrong. I won't let it. Ruth, you can't control everything. Gunwoo, watch me. Despite everything, Ruth smiled. Another text, I love you. This doesn't change that. Ruth's throat tightened. Ruth, I love you too. Even when you're being a controlling idiot. Gunwoo, especially then. Ruth laughed quietly. Then her phone rang. Unknown number. Her blood ran cold. She answered. Jay. Ruth. His voice was warm. Pleased. I heard about the divorce. I'm so sorry. Are you? Of course. I know how hard this must be for you. Ruth's hand tightened on the phone. What do you want? To help. You're going back to Atlanta, yes? With the children. How did you? I have friends everywhere, Ruth. You should know that by now. Jay paused. I also know Gunwoo fought the custody arrangement. That he wanted the children to stay in New Zealand. He did. But you won. Yes. Good. The children deserve better than a father who brings violence into their lives. Ruth bit her tongue. Played her part. I agree. I'm glad you finally see what I've been trying to tell you. Gunwoo will never change. He'll never truly leave that world behind. I know that now. So you're really done? Really leaving him? Ruth took a breath. Yes. Good. Jay's voice softened. Then let me help you. Ruth's heart stopped. Help me how? I have resources in Atlanta. People who can make sure you and the children are protected. That Gunwoo doesn't try to take them back. Why would you help me? Because Gunwoo took everything from me. And now, Jay's smile was audible. Now I'm going to take everything from him. Starting with you. The line went dead. Ruth sat frozen, phone pressed to her ear. It was working. Jay was taking the bait. But something in his voice had made her skin crawl. Like he knew something she didn't. Ruth called Gunwoo immediately. He just called. Offered to help me get settled in Atlanta. Good. That means he's planning to make contact in person. Gunwoo, he sounded. Ruth struggled to find the word. Confident. Like he knows he's already won. He thinks he has. Let him think that. What if he's right? What if we're walking into? Ruth. Gunwoo's voice was firm. I have 30 men positioned around that hotel. Minji is next door. I'm 10 minutes away. Jay can't touch you. But, trust me. Please. Ruth closed her eyes. I do. I don't want to lose you. You won't. I promise. They stayed on the line in silence for a moment. Then Gunwoo said quietly, 2 more days. Then this is over. And then what? Then we disappear. For real this time. Somewhere Jay will never find us. Where? I'm thinking Patagonia. Or maybe Iceland. Somewhere remote. Beautiful. Safe. Ruth smiled despite her fear. You've been planning this. I've been planning this since the hospital. I told you I'm done with that world. This is my last play. And then we're gone. Promise? I promise. Day 2. Ruth took the triplets to the park. It was staged. Planned. Minji and 3 other guards in civilian clothes positioned around the perimeter. But it had to look natural. Had to give Jay an opening. Ruth pushed Taeyoung on the swing while Jiwoo and Minseo played in the sandbox. She scanned the park constantly. Looking for threats. Looking for Jay. Mommy, higher! Taeyoung shouted. Ruth pushed harder, trying to focus on her son instead of the fear clawing at her chest. Then she saw him. Not Jay. Marcus. He was sitting on a bench across the park, watching her. Their eyes met. Marcus stood and walked toward her. Ruth's hand went to the panic button in her pocket. But Marcus held up his hands. Please. I just want to talk. You set me up. I know. And I'm sorry. But I'm here to warn you. Ruth glanced at Taeyoung, still swinging. About what? Jay isn't working alone. He has someone inside Gunwoo's organization. Ruth's blood ran cold. That's impossible. Gunwoo shut down his organization. Did he? Marcus moved closer. Or did he just tell you that? Ruth, the man who gave me the $50,000 wasn't Jay. It was someone on Gunwoo's payroll. You're lying. Why would I lie? My sister is safe now. Jay has no leverage over me. Marcus's eyes were desperate. I'm telling you this because you saved my life that day in the cafe. When Minji could have let me die, you told her to protect me. I owe you. Ruth's mind raced. Who? Who's working with Jay? Marcus opened his mouth to answer. Then his eyes widened. A red dot appeared on his chest. Get down, Ruth screamed. The shot was silent. Marcus dropped. Ruth grabbed Taeyoung off the swing and ran toward the sandbox. Jiwoo. Minseo. Come here now. More shots. Silenced. Professional. Ruth scooped up Minseo. Jiwoo grabbed her hand. Taeyoung clung to her neck. They ran. The SUV was 50 yards away. 40. 30. Someone stepped out from behind a tree. Not Jay. Someone Ruth recognized. Her heart stopped. Minji? Ruth whispered. Minji stood between them and the car, gun pointed at Ruth. I'm sorry, Minji said quietly. But Jay pays better. Ruth's world shattered. You've been working for him this whole time? Not the whole time. Just the last 6 months. Minji's expression was unreadable. Jay contacted me after he escaped. Made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Gunwoo trusted you. Gunwoo trusts everyone too much. That's his weakness. Minji gestured with the gun. Put the children down. No. Ruth. Don't make this harder than it has to be. You're going to kill us anyway. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to deliver you to Jay. What he does after that, Minji shrugged. Not my problem. Ruth's mind raced. The other guards were down. Marcus was dead or dying. She was alone with 3 toddlers and a traitor with a gun. Why? Ruth asked, stalling. Why betray him? Because Gunwoo was always going to leave. He was always going to choose you over the business. And when he did, I'd be out of a job. Minji's eyes were cold. Jay offered me security. A future. Gunwoo offered me nothing. He offered you loyalty. Loyalty doesn't pay the bills. Ruth held her children tighter. Then she heard it. Tires screeching. A black sedan careened into the parking lot. Gunwoo jumped out before it fully stopped, weapon raised. Minji, he shouted. Put it down. Minji spun, gun trained on Gunwoo. I don't want to shoot you, she said. But I will. Then shoot me. But you're not touching my family. They stood frozen. A standoff. Ruth saw her chance. She put the children down. Run to daddy. Now. But mommy. No. Jiwoo grabbed her siblings' hands and ran. Minji's eyes flicked toward them. Gunwoo fired. The shot hit Minji's shoulder. She dropped. Ruth ran to Gunwoo. He pulled her behind the car, the triplets already inside with another of his men. Are you hurt? Gunwoo's hands moved over her, checking for injuries. I'm fine. But Marcus, Jay has someone else inside your organization. I know. Minji. Gunwoo's voice was cold. I suspected for weeks. That's why I kept her close. Ruth stared at him. You knew? Not for sure. Not until today. Gunwoo looked at Minji writhing on the ground. But I had my suspicions. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed her to think the plan was working. I needed Jay to think he'd won. Gunwoo's eyes met hers. And now he does. Ruth's stomach dropped. What do you mean? Gunwoo pulled out his phone. Showed her a video feed. The cabin. Their cabin in the mountains. Jay was inside. Searching through their things. Looking for them. He's there right now, Gunwoo said quietly. Alone. Exposed. Exactly where we want him. Ruth stared at the screen. Then back at Gunwoo. You set all of this up. The divorce. The park. Minji's betrayal. All of it. Not Minji's betrayal. That was real. But yes, the rest was theater. To draw Jay out. Yes. Ruth wanted to be angry. Wanted to scream at him for keeping her in the dark again. But she was too exhausted. Is it over? She whispered. Please tell me it's over. Gunwoo pulled her close. Almost. One more move. Minji betrayed them, but Gunwoo was 3 steps ahead. Jay is finally exposed, and only one man is walking out of that cabin alive. Gunwoo left Ruth and the children with his most trusted man, someone who'd been with him since the beginning, someone Jay had never met. If I'm not back in 2 hours, Gunwoo said quietly, take them to the safe house in Queenstown. New identities. New life. Everything's already set up. Ruth grabbed his arm. Don't talk like that. I have to be realistic. No. Her voice was fierce. You don't get to be realistic. You get to come back. You promise me Patagonia. Or Iceland. You promise me forever. Gunwoo cupped her face. I did. And I meant it. Then don't you dare die in that cabin. He kissed her. Deep. Desperate. When he pulled back, his eyes were burning. I love you. Tell the kids. Tell them yourself. When you get back. Gunwoo smiled slightly. Then turned to leave. Gunwoo. Ruth's voice stopped him. Make him pay. For everything he did to us. To me he. Make him pay. Gunwoo's expression went cold. Dangerous. I will. The cabin, 1 hour later. Gunwoo approached on foot. No car. No backup. Just him and the weapon holstered at his side. The cabin looked peaceful. Quiet. But he could see the broken window. The door slightly ajar. Jay was inside. Gunwoo checked his phone one last time. The video feed showed Jay in the living room, going through Ruth's things. Picking up photos of the triplets. Setting them down carefully. Almost reverent. Gunwoo pocketed the phone and walked inside. Jay was standing by the fireplace, holding a framed picture of Ruth and the children. He didn't turn around. I wondered when you'd show up. Did you really think I wouldn't? I hoped you wouldn't. Hoped you'd finally learn to prioritize what matters. Jay set down the photo. But you never could resist a confrontation. You're in my house. Going through my family's things. What did you expect? Jay finally turned. He looked older. Thinner. Prison had carved lines into his face that hadn't been there before. But his eyes were the same. Cold. Calculating. Dangerous. I expected you to send men, Jay said. To hide behind your army like you always do. But here you are. Alone. He smiled. Either you're very brave or very stupid. Maybe both. Jay laughed. I've missed this. The honesty between us. We were never honest with each other, Jay. That's why we're here. No. We're here because you made me a monster and then acted surprised when I became one. Gunwoo moved into the room slowly. Hands visible. Non-threatening. But ready. I didn't make you anything, Gunwoo said. You chose your actions. Did I? Or did I do what needed to be done to protect you? Jae's voice rose. Mihi was going to destroy everything we built. Everything we sacrificed for. I eliminated the threat. Like you taught me to. I never told you to kill her. You didn't have to. You trained me to see threats and remove them. You made me your weapon. And then you punished me for doing exactly what you created me to do. Gunwoo's jaw tightened. Mihi wasn't a threat. She was the woman I loved. She was a weakness. And weaknesses get you killed. No, Jae. Gunwoo's voice was quiet. Sad. Love isn't weakness. It's the only thing that makes us human. And you never understood that. Jae stared at him for a long moment, then reached behind his back. Gunwoo's hand moved to his weapon. But Jae didn't pull a gun. He pulled out a syringe. Do you know what this is? Jae asked. Gunwoo's blood ran cold. Jae, the same compound I used on you before. The hormones. The treatments. Jae held it up to the light. Except this dosage is lethal. It'll stop your heart in 30 seconds. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to understand. Jae set the syringe on the mantel. I'm not here to kill you, Gunwoo. I'm here to give you a choice. What choice? The same choice you gave me. Jae's eyes were cold. You can walk away right now. Leave this cabin. Go back to Ruth and your children. Build your peaceful life. Forget I ever existed. Gunwoo frowned. What's the catch? The catch is I keep existing. I stay free. And one day, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 20, I'll come back. I'll find you. I'll find your children. And I'll take everything from you the way you took everything from me. Or you kill me. Right now. Right here. Jae gestured to Gunwoo's weapon. Put a bullet in my head. End this. But know that if you do, you'll never be free of that world. You'll always be the man who chose violence. Who chose death. Even when there was another way. Gunwoo stared at him. So what's it going to be? Jae asked. The man you were? Or the man you want to be? Gunwoo's hand hovered over his weapon. Every instinct screamed at him to pull it. To end this. Jae had killed Mihi. Had manipulated him. Had drugged him. Had threatened Ruth and his children. He deserved to die. But Gunwoo thought about Ruth's words. Make him pay. Was this payment? A bullet? A quick death? Or was there something worse? You're right, Gunwoo said quietly. Jae blinked. What? You're right. I made you what you are. I trained you to see the world in terms of threats and assets. I taught you to eliminate anything that stood in our way. Gunwoo took a step forward. And then I locked you in a cell for doing exactly what I taught you to do. So you're admitting. I'm admitting I failed you. As a friend. As a mentor. As a human being. Gunwoo's voice was steady. But that doesn't excuse what you did. It doesn't bring Mihi back. And it doesn't erase the pain you caused Ruth. So, what are you going to do? Gunwoo pulled out his phone. I'm not going to kill you, Jae. That would be too easy. Jae's eyes narrowed. Then what? I'm turning you in. To the authorities. The real ones. Not corrupt cops or bot judges. Gunwoo held up his phone. I've been recording this entire conversation. Your confession to killing Mihi. Your threats against my family. All of it. Jae's face went white. You're bluffing. I'm not. And I also have documentation. Financial records. Communications. Everything linking you to Mihi's death and everything you've done since. Gunwoo's smile was cold. You're going to spend the rest of your life in a real prison, Jae. No escapes. No deals. No mercy. You can't. I already have. Police are on their way. They'll be here in 5 minutes. Jae lunged for the syringe on the mantel. Gunwoo was faster. He grabbed Jae's wrist. Twisted. The syringe fell to the floor. They struggled. Two men who'd once been brothers now locked in a final fight. Jae was desperate. Vicious. But Gunwoo was fighting for something Jae never understood. He was fighting for love. For family. For the future. Gunwoo slammed Jae against the wall. Held him there. It's over, Gunwoo said through gritted teeth. You lost. No. Jae's eyes were wild. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. He grabbed for Gunwoo's weapon. They fell to the floor, both reaching for the gun. A shot rang out. Time stopped. Gunwoo felt the impact. felt Jae go limp beneath him. He rolled off. Jae lay on the floor, blood spreading across his chest. Not dead, but dying. Gunwoo, Jae's voice was weak. Please. Gunwoo knelt beside him. I'm here. I didn't want it to end like this. I know. I wanted you to see. To understand what you made me. I see it now. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed you. Jae's hand found Gunwoo's. Squeezed weakly. The children. Keep them safe. I will. Don't let them become like us. I won't. Jae smiled slightly. Blood on his teeth. You're a better man than I ever was. Jae. But he was gone. His hand went limp in Gunwoo's. Gunwoo sat there for a moment, holding the hand of the man who'd been his brother, his enemy, his greatest mistake. Then sirens filled the air. Gunwoo stood, walked outside, put his hands up as police cars surrounded the cabin. Gunwoo back, an officer said. You're under arrest. Self-defense, Gunwoo said calmly. Check the recording on my phone. It's all there. 3 months later, Iceland. Ruth stood on the porch of their new home, watching Gunwoo play with the triplets in the snow. He was different now. Lighter. Freer. The authorities had cleared him of any wrongdoing in Jae's death. Self-defense. Justified. Minji was in prison. 20 years. No parole. Marcus had survived. Barely. He testified against Jae's network in exchange for immunity. And Gunwoo had kept his promise. He'd severed every tie to his old life. Sold everything. Walked away completely. Now they lived in a small house outside Reykjavik. Anonymous. Normal. Gunwoo looked up and caught Ruth watching. He smiled. That smile still made her heart skip. He said something to the kids, then jogged over to the porch. They want hot chocolate, he said, slightly out of breath. They always want hot chocolate. Can you blame them? It's freezing. Ruth laughed. You're the one who chose Iceland. You said you wanted remote and beautiful. I delivered. You did. Gunwoo pulled her close. Any regrets? Ruth thought about it. About everything they'd been through. The pain. The fear. The betrayal. No, she said finally. No regrets. Even when I'm being an idiot? Especially then. Gunwoo kissed her. Soft. Sweet. Daddy. Hot chocolate. Taeyong yelled from the yard. They broke apart, laughing. Come on, Ruth said. Before they stage a rebellion. They walked inside together. The house was small. Warm. Filled with the chaos of 3 toddlers and the life they'd built from ashes. Later that night, after the kids were asleep, Ruth found Gunwoo sitting by the fireplace. What are you thinking about? She asked. Jae, sometimes I still think about him. Ruth sat beside him. Do you regret it? How it ended? I regret that it had to end that way. But I don't regret protecting us. Gunwoo turned to look at her. He gave me a choice. The man I was or the man I wanted to be. And you chose. I chose you. I chose them. I chose this life. He took her hand. And I'd choose it again. Every time. Ruth leaned her head on his shoulder. I love you. I love you too. More than I ever thought possible. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the fire. Gunwoo. Ruth said after a while. Yes. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me no more secrets. No more plans where you keep me in the dark. We're partners. Equal partners. Gunwoo was quiet for a moment. Then, I promise. No more secrets. Good. But I do have one thing I haven't told you yet. Ruth pulled back to look at him. What? Gunwoo pulled a small box from his pocket. Ruth's breath caught. We never did this properly, he said. The proposal. The romance. The choice. He opened the box. A simple ring. Beautiful in its simplicity. Ruth Johnson. Will you marry me? Not because of circumstances or children or danger. But because I choose you. Every day. For the rest of my life. Tears streamed down Ruth's face. Yes. God, yes. Gunwoo slipped the ring on her finger. Then pulled her into his arms. I promise, he murmured into her hair. I promise I'll spend every day proving you made the right choice. I already know I did. They held each other as the fire crackled and the snow fell softly outside. Two people who'd found each other in darkness and chose to build a life in the light. 6 months later, the wedding was small. Just them, the triplets, and a handful of people they trusted. No ceremony in a cathedral. No hundreds of guests. Just vows spoken on a cliff overlooking the ocean. I promise to choose you, Gunwoo said, even when it's hard. Even when I'm scared. Even when every instinct tells me to run. I promise to love you, Ruth said, not despite your past, but because of who you've become. Who you're still becoming. They kissed as the sun set. The triplets cheered. And somewhere in the life they'd left behind, the ghosts finally stopped haunting them. Epilogue, 5 years later. Taeyong ran through the house, Jiwoo and Minseo chasing him. No running inside. Ruth called from the kitchen. They ignored her. Gunwoo walked in, shaking snow from his coat. They're not listening to you. They never do. They get that from you. Me? I always listen to you. Ruth raised an eyebrow. Gunwoo grinned. Eventually, he wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. Kissed her neck. The kids, Ruth protested half-heartedly, are busy destroying the living room. Gunwoo. He turned her around. Looked at her with the same intensity he had the first time. I love you, he said. Have I told you that today? 3 times. But I never get tired of hearing it. Good. Because I plan on saying it every day for the next 50 years. Only 50? Fine. 60. Ruth laughed. Kissed him. In the living room, the triplets crashed into something expensive. We should probably, Ruth started. In a minute. They stood there, holding each other, as chaos erupted around them. And Ruth realized something. This was happiness. Not perfect. Not quiet. Not easy. But real. And worth everything they'd fought for. The end. Gunwoo chose love. Ruth chose forgiveness. And together, they built a life that no one, not Jay, not the past, not the violence, could destroy. If this story moved you, if you felt every moment, smash that like button and drop a comment about your favorite part. Subscribe for more stories about love that survives the impossible. Because sometimes, the greatest power isn't violence or control, it's choosing to let go and love anyway. Thank you for being here. Until next time.